Hey everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this session today. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. I absolutely love Animal Reiki. It has changed my life. It's changed who I am. And I'm really super excited to share with you just some simple ways that you can allow it to change your life as well. And I'm going to talk to you about the number one way you can get an animal to say yes. And I know that some of you are my students and you know that, but for others, this might be new information. And then also how we don't ever have to feel helpless. But then also another thing I'm going to share is we have situations where sometimes we're offering Reiki or we want to offer Reiki and it's a crowded situation. And how do you handle that, right? So, and that might be a topic all on its own, actually, but we'll cover that probably towards the end. So before I get into this, I wanted to share something that happened recently. So next week's call is going to be about cybersecurity. And welcome, Gwendolyn. Welcome, Carolyn. So good to see you here. So we're going to talk about cybersecurity. And the reason for that being is that a very good friend, one of my best friends, Mary, she actually had a very scary situation where she lost 100,000. She'll never get that 100,000 back, but she had given up 400,000. And I helped her get 300,000 back. And in my process of trying to help her get the 300,000 back, I learned so much. And not only do scammers get you, but the government will get you, like the IRS. Luckily, we were able to get her 300,000 out of Coinbase, but Coinbase held the money for months in an attempt, I believe, to try and just deter her, to have her give up, right? But I did a lot of different steps. I want to share those with you because Mary is a physician's assistant, which means she's only one level below a doctor. This is a very smart, intelligent woman. But these scammers, these hackers, they use really sneaky techniques to isolate you. Now, she's a recent widow. She's only been a widow for 2 years. So that also, once they get into your computer, and I'm going to share with you next week, easy ways they can get into your computer, they start to read your emails. They start to know who you are, and they start to prey on your insecurities. There was a CNN reporter that just gave them $50,000 in a box, in a shoebox. She's a reporter who reports on finance, and they threatened her daughter. They threatened her in ways that she felt, oh my God, I have to do this. And the banks, they don't stop it. They don't stop you from withdrawing. They'll say this is a scam, but when you're in this cult, is basically what it is, of trying to survive, then you're this hyper awareness. And we're going to talk about how our Reiki practice can help us. In fact, we're going to kind of touch on that today, can help us stop and take a breath and go, okay, So I'm going to talk more about that, but I thought it was really important because all of us are susceptible to this. None of us, it's like, I was sharing this at a family gathering and my uncle was like, oh, well, she was just really stupid. I would never do that. And it's like, you don't know what you would do when you're operating from the energy of fear. And so, I want to share that with you, hopefully give you some really good advice and tips and techniques that are super easy, ways that you can quickly identify hackers and then quickly kind of keep yourself safe. So we're going to talk about that next week. I didn't want to end talking about this next week. I just want to get it out there. This is what we're going to talk about because it's so heavy and it's kind of dark, but we will have some fun with it. And I'm going to get you some really great information on how you can make sure that this doesn't happen to you, because it's not if it'll happen to you, it's when it'll happen to you. But whether or not you succumb to having, your money taken is something that I'm hopefully going to prevent. And so just to point out, John Oliver did an item on online scam called Pig Butchering, has nothing to do with, oh, great, on HBO. Thank you so much for that. And I think that was Gwendolyn, your name, Claudia. Oh, Claudia, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I will check that out as well. And I'm going to get you guys some resources too, because it's really scary. And with AI, now they can, if you have a video, like for me, I have videos, right? So AI now, the hackers can use my voice to call my mother and say, Mom, I'm in trouble. I really need you to blah, 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 blah. Give me this much money, right? And then my mom will give it to me. So I'm going to show you how we can prevent that from happening, and then how you can also educate your family. So, welcome, Eddy. I didn't see that you joined us, so welcome. So glad to see you here. And Joyce is here as well. Karen Sue, I think is so. Oh, there's Eddy, and Beth is here as well. So great. Welcome, everyone. So let's get into today's topic. And I am so, again, I was saying this before I started the recording, I am so excited about this because I can honestly, with 1,000% certainty, tell you my life changed the minute I learned Animal Reiki, the Let Animals Lead method of Animal Reiki with Kathleen. I studied with Kathleen in 2007. And at the time, I had been working for a very large law firm, 400 attorneys in Silicon Valley in Palo Alto. And I worked for one of the top attorneys in the nation. And so it was just, oh my God, so heavy, so busy, so just, your life isn't your own, especially because I was an executive assistant. So it's like being a personal assistant and doing all these complex things. And what had happened was I just decided, I need something more in my life. I want to give back to animals, because that's why we all come to Animal Reiki. We want to give back to animals. We love animals. We want to be of service. We want to help them. And so I came to Kathleen's class with that intention that I was going to help animals. But what ended up happening was this practice, and it makes me emotional, because when I think back to who I was in 2007, or, right around there, and I look at that person and, the mental just crap that I was carrying around, I am so different that it's hard for me to even recognize that person, which is a good thing, right? Because I've changed so much in so many powerful, just wonderful ways that I look back at that and I just have extreme gratitude for whatever drove me to find Animal Reiki, for whatever doors open. But it goes to show you, like, when you're ready, when you want to get to that beautiful part of yourself, because I knew I was a nice person, but I wasn't being a nice person. I knew that I had a lot of love in my heart, but I was being so just irritable. Things were setting me off with my husband, with my son, with, anything. It's just like, oh, I had this trigger temper. And I wouldn't say I was a rageaholic, but I would say that I was probably pretty close. Not that I was abusive, but maybe I was, because maybe to the people that I didn't treat well or snapped at, that was abusive, right? And so, and like, even to my son, he and I talk now about that. And thankfully, my son is just such a wonderful person. He always forgives me for anything, but I apologize to him all the time. And it's like, he's all, yeah, but Mom, what matters is that you're changed now, right? And it's true. That's what matters. So welcome, Wilma, and welcome, Catherine. Thank you so much for joining us. So how did I get here, right? How did I get to be this way? I'm going to start, I had three little bullet points, and I'm going to start about the side effect of becoming a better version of you. So what happens when we take an Animal Reiki class is we learn two very important tools. And one is the precepts, and one is the Joshin Kokyoho breath. So Joshin Kokyoho breath is something that we've practiced here. And that's just where we breathe in through our nose, pull our breath deep into our belly, expand our belly, and then we emit the light that is at our belly that's growing with every breath in and out, right? We're going to do that at the end here. So basically, we're breathing in universal light, love, energy, whatever you want, or you're just breathing in, just whatever, but you're igniting something at your core, at your belly. Now, the reason this is so powerful is because when we breathe into our belly, we're breathing into our center. That is where all our strength is. That is where our grounding is. So it's like, when you feel stuff in your gut, that's your just inner knowingness is your gut. But it's also your connection to earth. It's also connection to stability. And so when we breathe in and we connect to our hara, to our belly, we're also connecting to the strength of the earth. We are part of the earth. So it's not like we're going down, we're accessing something that's not accessible to us. We're actually accessing something that is in us already, but we lose sight of it. And I've talked about this a lot. Like, when we're born this beautiful, complete, limitless being. But then as we age and we grow up, our parents, school, work, friends, whatever, it starts to then dim our light because we start to believe the lies that are being told us that you are, oh, this isn't going to happen. There's boundaries, there's limits. Then you start to become this very limited person. But your limitless person, who you are, who you were born as, is still there. And this practice helps uncover it. So through the Joshin Kokyo breathing, every breath that connects to your belly, that conscious breath. Now, obviously, we're breathing every day, but that conscious breath, when you're connecting to that, you're connecting to your own inner strength. You're connecting to who you truly, really are. And then the beauty of Joshin Kokyo Ho is that we then take that beautiful inner light and we allow it to go out every cell of our body, right? We allow this beautiful inner light to illuminate our entire being. And then we share that with the world, with animals, with people, whoever that is. So now we can really kind of touch into that feeling of limitless. I tap into my light, I share my light, and my light can go wherever. I'm like the sun. And that's what I love about Joshin Kokyo Ho, is you're really creating that energy that I am the sun. My energy can go out. It can go all the way across to Florida. It can go all the way around the world to Monica, right? So Monica took my class, we did meditations, and I can feel, we can connect all the way in Croatia, right? Because your energy is limitless. And that is the beauty of Joshin Kokyo Ho. So I'm going to walk you through that. It's just the Reiki space meditation. You learn in a level 1 different ways to use it. And of course, the more you practice, the better you get. And that is really what you have to do. Like it cracks me up because when I first came to Animal Reiki, I did research about human Reiki, and it's fascinating. And I think it's probably the only skill or modality out there that you only have to take maybe 2 weekend classes, a level 1, 2, and a 3, or maybe you take 3 weekend classes, and all of a sudden, when you graduate, you are a master. A master. It's fascinating. I could be a master of anything, but I could be a master of Reiki. I can be a master of Reiki without doing anything. So I can't even tell you how many countless people, even people that come to my Animal Reiki practitioners classes, oh yeah, I've been a master for 20 years. Oh, I don't practice it. I've been a master for 10 years. It's like, but then you're not a master. If you haven't mastered it, then you're not a master. And that's what I love about Kathleen. She used to call it Animal Reiki Master, but very quickly on, when she very first started her business, she changed it to teacher program, because that's what we are. We're cultivating that teacher. You are a teacher. A master is something your students will call you. Hey, Kelly, thanks so much for joining. A master is what your students are going to call you. They're going to call, oh, my master, my sensei, right? But you don't call yourself that. Like, it would be like me saying, I took 3 weekend tennis camps, and now I am a master tennis player. Oh, so you do tournaments? No, I don't even play, but I'm a master. It's like, that makes zero sense. So in the Animal Reiki lineage, we don't say that we are masters. We say that we are teachers. And that's the let animals lead method, right? So I know that other lineages, they call themselves masters, but it's just something I want you to keep in the back of your head when you think about this, right? And there are masters of Reiki out there. I'm not saying, they're not, but then there's a lot of people that call themselves masters and aren't. And it's actually one of the reasons that Reiki in itself is kind of poo-pooed, because you have all these people calling themselves masters, and the rest of the world knows that if you're a master, that means you're a master at your skill, that you know this inside and out, that you've done this for years and years and years, and you've practiced daily. So I want to say that, because if you really want this practice to be a part of you, look at this with a beginner's mind. And that's something that we teach in all the classes. When we come to this practice with a beginner's mind, we are open to whatever lessons that are going to come our way. And that's daily lessons, right? That's just anything. So that also helped me to change my life, knowing that, one, this is a daily practice, but also seeing everything as a beginner, so that every Animal Reiki session I go and sit in on and facilitate, that it's new. that I don't judge an animal because, oh, the last time I was with a bear, I had the most amazing experience. So now that I'm with the bear, the same bear or a different bear, I'm going to expect that. That's an attachment. We don't ever want to do that. We always want to see each experience as something new. I mean, you come to these Wednesday classes, it's never the same. Never is it the exact same. Yes, there's kind of a format that I follow, but it's never the same. And we're always learning and growing. Oh, look at this, Kelly with her cat, Bo. I love Bo. We're always growing, right? We're always expanding. So I encourage you, if you want this practice to change your life, or if you don't know the Let Animals Lead method, and you would like to have something life-changing happen, we're going to do the Reiki space, the Joshin Kokyoho at the very end here. And then we're also going to talk about the precepts. So the precepts were something that were introduced to me and through the level 1 class. And at first you're like, okay, so the precepts are for today only: do not anger, do not worry, be humble, be grateful, show compassion to yourself and to others. And there's other versions of that. There's do not anger, do not worry, be honest in your work, be humble, show compassion to yourself. There's a few different, but for the sake of this conversation and for the sake of simplicity, because when we say be honest in your work, you kind of need to go to a class to understand more deeply what that means. So I'm going to keep it really simple today. And I'm going to share with you some precepts. So let me share my screen really quickly, because this in itself absolutely 100% changed my life. Having the precepts at my desk, reminding myself that in this moment, I can live without anger, I can live without worry, I can be compassionate, I can be humble. Those all helped me to be a better person at work. And in being a better person at work, everyone else started to change around me. There started to be more peace in my, so 400 attorney office, you're in quads. So the quads have about, 15, 20 people in them. So in my quad, things start to calm down, right? Or people are upset and they come up and they're immediately calmed down. So then I become the go-to person because they're like, oh, I love working with you because you're so calm. You don't freak out. You make me feel calm. And that's why my boss absolutely loved me, because of that, right? So we can actually, through our own practice, we start affecting everyone else around you. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly and show you. Oh, whoops. Share screen. Okay, go right here. So this is how you can look at the precepts and understand them a little better. For today only means just in this moment. It doesn't mean like tomorrow, doesn't mean next month. It just means for today. So if like you're on a diet, right now I'm on an elimination diet. Oh my God, I'm starving. I'm starving all the time. So I have to remind myself, in this moment, I cannot eat. In this moment, I can wait patiently for my pineapple that's coming, whatever. So I can tell myself, in this moment. That's what for today only means. It doesn't mean even for the whole day. It just means in this moment. Do not anger. So when we look at anger, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm never going to get angry. I'm never going to have, upset feelings. That's not what that means at all. Of course, you're human. The Dalai Lama gets mad about things. It's, am I going to hang on to my anger? And the answer is no. And when I can let go of it, when I can say to myself, I'm in traffic. Oh, I'm so upset. I'm going to be late. And it's like, you know what? The traffic is here. I'm actually a part of the traffic. I heard somebody say that recently. It was really funny. It's like, we get mad at traffic and it's like, hello, we're part of the traffic too. So we're part of the problem. Somebody behind us is cursing us because of the traffic. So making that realization, okay, I'm in this traffic. I can't change it. So now I can let go of my anger and I can go, I'll listen to a podcast. I'll do something else. But what is one step below anger? Worry, right? So when you're really worried about something and there's no solution, you can easily jump into anger. I guess what anger is below? Anger is one step below rage, fury. So we always want to identify anger and try and let it go so that it doesn't compound and expand and get worse. When we get down to worry, we can see, okay, yes, I have this worry. So for me, like, let's just go simple. Oh, I'm worried I'm not going to get enough to eat. Well, of course I'm going to get enough to eat, right? We can start to tell ourselves, or if like an unexpected bill comes, okay, that's like a better one. I'm really worried I won't have the money to pay for this bill. If we're in that really stressed out, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to pay this, we can't hear the solution. So we need to say, okay, you know what? I'm worried about this, but I'm going to be humble. Now, right? We're going to go down to the next step. I'm going to be humble and open my mind up to all possibilities of how I could pay this. Now, all of a sudden, you have given your mind some peace. You're like, oh, okay, yes, I can be humble. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what's going to be best for me. Let me open myself up. And now I can also be grateful. I'm really grateful that I have options. I'm really grateful that I can quiet my mind. I'm really grateful for whatever that is. And once you're grateful, all of a sudden you just automatically drop into compassion. It is an actual just like boom, 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 boom step. You let go of your anger, you let go of your worry. You're like, okay, I can be more humble. I can actually see I can understand what's happening. I can be grateful. And now I can just drop down into compassion. Now, here's the thing about compassion. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'll provide this to all of you too as a handout. But compassion is really highly misunderstood. Compassion sometimes could be seen as pity, or that you're a doormat, that you're going to be walked all over because, oh, you're a really compassionate person, you're a bleeding heart. That's not what true compassion is. True compassion is being able to say no. Sometimes, like my sister, I have a drug addicted nephew, and that's why I'm in California with my sister to help her with him and my other nephew, who's an absolute angel. So the drug addicted nephew, my sister constantly coddles, right? Because he has all these issues. She constantly coddles instead of saying to him no. She can't say the word no to him because in her mind, no is not loving, but nothing could be farther from the truth. No can be the most loving thing that you can say. Love is the most loving action. Saying no to my nephew could be the most loving action she could take for him, but she can't see that. So being compassionate is actually having wisdom, the wisdom to know when to say no, when to say yes. But you can't get to wisdom if you're up here in anger and worry, right? Because they make your brain go, da, 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 da. You can't think clearly. You can't think of solutions. And that's really what helped me in my job. By being in the energy of the precepts, wasn't that, oh, I was just this really Zen, nice person. It also gave me the tools and the wisdom to hear and to assimilate what's going on. So I'm an executive assistant, boom, 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 boom. There's things going on all the time. Sometimes I've got 5 things that I'm trying to balance, and I've got to have the wisdom to know what I can do right now, what I should drop, or what can wait. You have to have that wisdom, but you can't, if you're in high beta and your brain is just going, blah, 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 oh my God, I'm so stressed, I'm so overwhelmed, you can't think clearly. So that is how this practice really changes your life. These precepts seem pretty basic, pretty simple, and you might even have resistance to them. You know, and in all honesty, full transparency, I had resistance to the precepts. I had resistance to saying, do not anger, for today only. But what Kathleen shared with me is that basically what you're doing is you're just starting with rote memorization. You're just like, okay, I'm just going to rote memorize these. And I'm going to say them 3 times in the morning. And I'm going to say it 3 times at night. But the beauty of the precepts, the magic of these precepts is that they start to bleed into your everyday life. So that when you're sitting with an animal and that animal's been abused, you can, before you even go in with the animal, say, oh, I'm so pissed at these people. But you can also say, those people are hurt people. Anyone who's going to abuse an animal is a very hurt and broken person. So we can then say, you know what, I have compassion for that person. I don't believe in what they did. I don't co-sign what they did, but I can say that person is broken and send them compassion. And now I can let go of my worry because I know that when I go in and sit with the animal, when I go and connect with the animal, that animal's only going to feel worry and anger. You know, we've all been in those situations, either with family or with strangers, where you're with someone, you're next to someone, and they're very angry. It doesn't matter that they're not angry at you. It's just a really icky emotion or worry. We all have friends who worry. And you just go, oh my gosh, this is so draining, right? Because it gets them nowhere. They're just like a little mouse in one of those wheels where they just go round and round and round and round and round with their worry. So that energy of worry to animals who are highly sensitive to energy. So you've got animals who are just super hypersensitive. When we come in with our worry, can you imagine? It's like, whoa, it's like your friend who's worrying on, screaming at you. So we really want to just stop, dip into the precepts and say, okay, I'm going to let go of my anger. I'm going to let go of my worry. I'm going to be humble. I'm going to go sit with that animal. And here's where the magic is. Okay. So remember, I told you how to get an animal to say yes. And this is again, the magic of the precepts. It all comes together by being humble. When you sit with that animal and you're humble and you say to that animal, I would love to sit with you. I am learning meditation. And even like me, 17 years of practice later, I became a teacher 16 years ago, started practicing 17 years ago. That I always come to the animal, no matter who that animal is. I am humble. I would love to sit with you. I would love for you to help me meditate. Boom. Animals are never asked for help. They're never asked for permission. They're never asked, hey, I'm a student. I would love for you to be my teacher. That is so incredibly empowering, because think about yourself. And I don't like to humanize animals, but we can think about this in a very human way. Don't you love it when someone says, hey, could you teach me whatever that is? Oh, because that immediate energy is, I see you as someone who could help me. And automatically, boom, we expand. Just that energy, we go, wow, they see me as a teacher. Wow, they trust me to teach them, right? So we're telling that animal, not only do I see you as a teacher, I trust you. And I know that you are going to be the best teacher for me. Now, even if an animal is sick and dying, you might think, oh, well, I can't ask the animal. They're sick, they're weak. Their body is weak. Their spirit, their soul is immense and strong. And so for any of us who have ever experienced an animal dying and had the extreme privilege of feeling that animal as they pass, overwhelmingly, the energy is huge, and it is loving, and it is warm. And it's because that is the animal's true being. Just like we're trying to tap into our true being, who we are, this beautiful, wonderful healing light, that is who they are. They don't have to try and do the precepts and all these things to get to that point. Now, the caveat is, when an animal is in a shelter, an animal has kind of lost sight of that light. They're disconnected from their inner light. Boom, that's where we come in. Hey, little animal, I'm going to sit with you. I'm going to ask you to help me. I'm going to see you as a teacher. Right away, I see that dog as a teacher. That dog goes, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think I could be a teacher. Yeah, I'm a teacher. And already they're starting to get back into connection with their light. And now you sit and you just meditate and you share your light, not asking anything of them, not saying you need to do this or I need you, nothing. Just asking for them, their support, and that's it. And telling them, and they can do it or not. It's completely up to them. Now that is a beautiful connection. Now that animal's light is starting to shine bright again. Now they are starting to tap into that strength of who they really are. And then they help us tap into our own inner strength. So you can see it's just such a beautiful circle, right? We go in to help, we become helped. It's this circle that goes on and on. And it's the circle of the precepts. The precepts are in a beautiful circle. So if you look at the precepts, even like they're all chained together, and let's say you get angry, boom, you're out of the circle, right? Oh, I'm angry. So I've bounced out of the circle of the Reiki, this beautiful Reiki space of the precepts. But guess what? Show compassion to yourself. Oh, you know what though? It's okay. I'm going to bring myself back into the precepts. And now you're back into that circle again. So the beautiful thing about the precepts is that not only gives us our own inner strength that's going to change our lives, but it also gives us the strength and the humility to be with animals and learn from them and have the wisdom to understand what they're trying to share with us. So a lot of times with my students, especially when they're first starting out, they'll say, I remember, for example, Yvonne, who comes on the call. So Yvonne is a photographer, and she decided to go to the zoo. And as part of her just sharing space with the zoo animals, she was going to also take pictures. So she goes, she sets a space, she asks permission, and she starts taking pictures. And she came back to class and said, you know, it was really disappointing. I didn't feel like any of the animals connected. Okay, so here's a crowded space. It's a zoo. The animals you're trying to connect with, there's usually a lot of people in front of the animals. You feel like they can't really see you. How can you really get through all the energy? Like all these people, they all have energy. How is your energy going to get through to, like, let's say a lion? Because this was one of the ones. So she's like, yeah, it just was really disappointing because they didn't connect. And I said, oh, so what did your pictures show? Oh, my pictures were great. My pictures were fantastic, actually. She said her pictures showed the animals, boom, like they were looking straight into the camera. It's like, okay, Yvonne, so let's back up a little. You're telling me the animals didn't connect. Yet, when you took pictures of them, they were all looking at you. What does that say? Oh, guess they were connecting with me. Exactly. We have to be really aware, and this happens so much, no judgment at all. It's happened to me, it's happened to Kelly, it's happened to Beth and Judy. I'm sure, they've been practicing a very long time. It happens to us. We think, well, I don't think the animal connected. But when we sit back and we really start to think about, okay, actually, the animal did slow down. Like maybe the horses were eating. Horses will be eating. You'll go sit, you'll think, okay, nothing's happening. They're eating, but you have to be really observant. Maybe they slow down, they're crunching. They start to hang their heads. Maybe their tongue comes out. Maybe, if they're a male, they get really relaxed. I mean, that's like the sure sign on a male horse. They get so relaxed, but they might start yawning. They might do things. Or they might just get a little bit closer. Just pay attention. We're so needy. Oh my God, humans are the most needy things. And we do it from a place of love, right? It's from a pure place of I love you. So a really funny thing happened. I want to kind of just interject this really quickly. Kathleen and I we had a really great day. It was a beautiful day in San Francisco. We had brunch, and then we went to the Science Museum. And this is this really beautiful, or Arts and Science, and it's this beautiful Gothic area. I mean, it looks like you're stepping into Rome. It's just beautiful. The buildings are all very Gothic and columns, and there's a beautiful pond, and there's turtles and geese. And so it was a busy day because it was beautiful in San Francisco and so many people out. And Kathleen and I were sitting on a bench, and there was a goose. And the goose was amazing. He was very confident in who he was. And so people would come up with their dogs, and he'd hiss at them, and he never moved. But he did start to get closer to Kathleen and I. But the funny thing that would happen is little kids would come up and try and pet him, and he was fairly tolerant. But humans would try and come and pet him, and he would hiss. And sometimes they would go, oh, but sometimes they would just keep petting him. And so finally, after about 20 people doing this, because once one person sees it, guess what happens? Then everybody needs to pet the goose. And Kathleen and I was like, oh, good God, what is happening? So finally the goose jumped in the lake. He's like, forget it. I can't do this, right? That's something we have to be really aware of in our sessions. Don't be needy. Know that they are going to connect with you. The problem isn't them connecting with you. It's your inability to sense when they connect with you. So that goes back to practice, practice, practice. You will never be able to identify when an animal deeply connects with you unless you practice. And practicing by yourself, doing the Joshin Kokyu breathing by yourself is a really great thing to do, because then when you practice with an animal and you ask that for permission, and you ask them to join you and help you, you can almost feel like you go down. Almost like you're stepping down. And I don't know if some of you, I'm going to open it to Kelly and the rest of you in just a minute. I know I've just talked forever. I want to stop. Is that you're going to feel that difference. I had one of my level 1 students. She just felt that with her dog. She said it was so weird. I asked him if he would please help support me and help me when my mind wanders. And she said, I just felt like, boom, like you just go a little deeper, but you can't get that unless you practice. So just to kind of quickly wrap it up, make sure I covered everything, and just let me get my notes here and make sure that I did cover everything we need to cover here. Is that, in order to be of service to animals and get us a yes every single time, we have to ask permission. We have to be in gratitude, right? The way that we can help ourselves be the best version of ourselves is doing the Reiki space, Joshin Kokyo breath, and the precepts. And I'm going to share those precepts with you. And then the way to get through to an animal in a crowded area, a crowded space, like a zoo, like Yvonne was at the zoo. What we do is we just quiet our mind, we sit there and we connect. And know that your energy goes out. When your intention is, I am just going to be the sun and allow my energy to go out, and whoever would love to connect with me, great. And if you feel like, oh, a lion has connected with you, you can say to the lion, thank you so much. And I would love for you to help support me, right? Whatever it is, or maybe you say that before in order to guarantee that connection. And it seems like, I don't want to seem slimy, like, oh, here is a great way that you can trick animals. You're not tricking animals. The animal will either say, yeah, I'll do it, or they'll go, no, I don't want to do it. They have choice, they have agency. And that's the beauty of this practice. We allow them that choice. We allow them that agency. But here's the thing, people, I can't tell you how many times I have experienced this. I'm sure Kelly has experienced it. When an animal is like, I could do it, but I'm really not going to give you too much. We're like, you're supposed to show me how great I am. You're supposed to show me how wonderful this is and how powerful I am, right? Womp, womp. Our ego starts to get involved. We go, no. However they connect is the right way to connect. And if you allow yourself to really observe what's happening, you're going to be shocked at what you see, the connections. I remember one of my level 1 students, she went to this horse barn and she said, oh yeah, nothing happened. But she said when I was talking to her that when she was sitting there, the horses were eating, and then one of them came up and nudged her on the head and then just kind of sat with her for just a second and then turned around and left. And she goes, I think he might have been telling me to stop. And I'm like, no, he's telling you, thank you. I'm giving you a little, and then we walk off. If they want you to stop, a horse is going to put their ears back and be like, no, not today. Basically, not today, Satan, get out of my pasture, right? But when their ears are up and they come up and say, hey, that's an acknowledgement. Just be like if you were busy doing something, right? We're so funny. We walk into somebody's house. Like, let's say I walk into Kelly's house. She's doing dishes. I'm like, oh, Kelly, come here. I want to do this energy work with you. No, really. You got to stop everything you're doing. And Kelly's like, but wait a second. You're in my house. You just came in. There's no preparation. And now you want me to drop everything and then give you this acceptance. But it's what we do to animals. We go into their house. Okay, I want you to do this. I want you to connect with me without any kind of just consideration that this animal might not want to do Reiki right now. That just be like, you know what? I'm okay. Especially when an animal is very grounded and in their body. They might be like, no, like our own animals, right? A lot of people go, oh, my animals don't like Reiki. They just don't like how you're doing it. They don't like how you're presenting it. You're not asking permission. You're not saying, hey, is this a good time? Because they'll show us, they'll like jump off the bed. They'll go in the other room. They'll go, no, you get on with your bad self. You do it. I don't need to be here for you. I could be in the next room and support you. Go back to your lessons, right? They show us all the time what we're trying to learn, what I'm trying to teach. So I just want to get through these, and then I want to open this up because Kelly and I know Judy's got some deep wisdom here. So Carolyn Drew said, I'm so ready. Carolyn is going to come to my level. Carolyn is going all the way from British Columbia to Sandy, Oregon to take my level 1. I am so excited. It is going to be the most amazing class because Zeb's wish is so amazing. And Catherine said, hello. Wilma said, hello, everybody. And Wilma says, exactly what you said to me when I started the Let Animals Lead classes, have an open mind. Yeah. Have a beginner's mind, right? See everything as a new experience because it is. And then Monica says, I have tears in my eyes, how deep this is. asking them to help us. Yes, right? So Monica, I know you've had some incredible experiences with Heart, that beautiful shepherd. But again, that was something that you did with her too, telling her that she had choice, which was so empowering. A dog who is deeply afraid and distrustful of humans became trusting and loving of humans. I mean, granted, specific humans, but still huge healing, right? And we really have to ask ourselves, what does healing mean? Does it mean the animal's going to get adopted, or does it mean the animal is back in their body and back connected to who they truly are? That to me is true healing. So, oh yeah, MaryLynne says, have you thought about writing a book about your experiences and tips for others? No, I haven't, MaryLynne, but thank you for that. I don't know. I always think, oh, nobody really wants to hear what I have to say, but maybe they do. So thank you so much. So I want to open this up to Kelly, because I know Kelly's got some wisdom, and I want to give us enough time to get to the meditation as well. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, everybody. There's nothing wrong with me. There's a mosquito flying around. That's why
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing all this. I don't know what it's doing in my house in March. But anyway, hi, everybody. Yeah, great topic, Leah. The animal that came to mind was Ingozi. And sharing that space with him, doing Reiju with another Sarah member, Jean Clune, and we were sharing, working with each other. But
So
Ingozi
really quickly, Ingozi is a huge crocodile.
yeah, the man-eating crocodile.
He is.
So he's in his enclosure right near us, and he was just completely, he was facing us, but so still. And during the Reiju, I could feel that stillness so much, really deeply. And I keep going back to that because I don't think I've ever felt that kind of stillness before. But clearly he knew everything that was going on around him, and he was really focused on what we were doing. But just that energy was incredible.
Oh my God.
So it was,
I love that.
Yeah, every time I go there, I have to work with him. But
yeah.
on the flip side, right, when animals are coming out of it or they're done, it's pretty obvious. We're just like if we're in that deep space, it's just like boom, all of a sudden, you feel like, oh, what happened? It's like could have been like having cold water thrown on your face. Oh, I'm back in the world.
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. But then also, and this is where practice comes in, right, Kelly? Because when you're first starting out, an animal might get up to go get water or eat or use the restroom, whatever that is for them. And we think, oh, they're done. They're not. They're just getting more comfortable. It's like getting a massage and going, wait a second, I have to use the restroom. But it's not that I don't want the massage anymore. It's just I need to take a break for just a second. So just like but you can't have that wisdom, and you can't feel those deep feelings like what Kelly was feeling with Ingozi unless you practice. So Kelly, and another thing, Kelly, this kind of backs up again what we were talking about, how you really have to teach in person. Teaching online, do not get the same results. You've got to teach in person. You've got to experience this method in person, because how would you ever know about Ingozi, right, Cal?
Right. Yeah, and I think online training is great, and I really appreciate being able to do that because we can teach such a wide and far away group of people. But it's wonderful to be able to have practices together, or to guide other people in your classes who aren't nearby to practitioners or places where they can practice the Let Animals Lead method too, because you really have to have the in-person practice with the animals and not just the ones in your home.
No, because and I think that this happens a lot in Animal Reiki outside of the Let Animals Lead method, that people work with their own animals and then they think they know, oh, this is how animals react. And it couldn't be farther from the truth, especially when you're working with an animal like Ingozi or going to the zoo. There's all these subtleties that your own animals are not going to share with you. And I know that like when you and I go to care, Kelly, it's like there's so many different animals. Even the snakes create this huge space. Like little Brutus, who's only like this big, he's an alligator.
Hey, buddy.
The energy is like, it's when you work with ground animals like crocodiles and alligators, when you go to the dentist, they used to put like that heavy vest on you. I think all of us are old enough to have experienced that. And you feel really heavy. Well, it's the same when you're sharing space with an alligator or a crocodile, you start to sink. I mean, literally physically, you start to feel your body start to go down because they're so connected to that grounded energy. But the beauty with Ingozi too is not only are they grounded, but they're expansive. So it was interesting. Sean Fargo is one of my meditation teachers, and he was saying recently, he goes, oh, he did a grounding meditation with a kind of expansion. And what he was saying was, oh, in meditation, there's a lot of grounding exercises, but you can get too grounded and you need to bring in the light. And I thought, wow, that's so cool that in our practice, we don't have to worry about that because the Reiki space grounds you, but it expands you with your light. So we never have to worry that, oh, we're too grounded. We're too we're too stuck. We're actually in perfect balance through our practice.
Yeah, definitely. If we're doing all of our practices that we learn to ground, but also to expand the energy, not just from the heart, but through your whole body, you definitely can keep yourself from getting into that stuck place where I have been in the past. But
Right.
definitely able to shift out of with my practice in Reiki.
Absolutely. Because it's like we think our practice is okay, it's only used for Reiki, but it's not. It's a life practice. It's getting you to who you truly are, this beautiful, loving being. And then you become that being, no matter if you're sitting with an animal or you're sitting with friends, you are that person. And I think that one of the ways that that's always shown is even on calls like this, we've never met in person, but I see you and I think, oh, I've never met MaryLynne, but I see her and I think, oh, there's my friend MaryLynne, right? Because it creates this deep connection when you're in this space together. So Judy, I would love for you. You've been practicing a long time. So Judy is one of Kelly's students, and Judy and Beth and Kelly live in Vermont together. So they're very lucky they have each other.
And MaryLynne lives here too.
Oh yeah, and MaryLynne too. That's right. And MaryLynne gets together with you guys. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so I've been doing Reiki for about 7 years, and that's all thanks to Kelly, who's been stuck with me this entire time. And it's really been life changing for me because was a physical therapist. I just retired in December, and for 42 years I was doing therapy. And my first class with Kelly, she kind of pointed out to me that, well, you've been doing energy work for whatever it's 30 over years at that point. And actually a lot of the practice that I do, manual skills, were a sort of energy work. So it kind of like was pretty easy for me to sort of get into the whole practice. And then once I learned the precepts and put the little sticky note on my desk with them on them and all the symbols and all that on my desk and at work, I started to really quickly feel like, yeah, this is not just something I'm reciting. This is a way of life. This is how I'm going to move forward. And then thinking about, at that point, retiring 7 years on, which I just did, I was really grateful to Kelly because now I have this practice, and it's really given my retirement and the rest of my life like a purpose and a direction, which is going to make me cry now. So it's just been sort of, a pathway that's really been strong. And now I'm studying with Leah. And I know I can't learn enough. I know I can't ever. I know for sure that I will never be a master. I was not even a master of physical therapy after 42 years. It's just not a thing that I'll ever be. But it is a practice that I will continue on from now on. So
I love that. Thank you so much.
Love
Judy.
it. Thanks, Judy. And Judy does so much at her local shelter. She goes above and beyond, and I'm really always inspired by her. So thanks, Judy.
Well, and I love that you said that, Kelly, because we all have gifts. We forget that. We're all unique, loving beings that have special gifts. And then MaryLynne says a lifetime learner. We all have these, but it's tapping into that light so that we can start effectively sharing who we truly are and our true gifts. So I just want to go over the comments really fast. So Joyce said, Yo-Yo Ma speaks extensively on beginner's mind. Yes. I mean, a lot of the experts and masters, they all say it, whether it's in the entrepreneur world or the spiritual world or wherever. You have to, music world, you have to face things with the beginner's mind. I know LeBron James, he still does basic layups because they help him to be a better basketball player. And he's like the top of the top. Does he really need to go back to basics? But he too practices that beginner's mind, because there's a lot of power in the beginner's mind. And then Wilma said, would love to have that here in Newfoundland, have more practice with others. So, it's a little bit off topic, but I just want to say really quickly that if you, and we talked about this last night on our Sarah member meeting about community, if you are looking for a community, start with just the Reiki groups. Because then you can share what you know. There's going to be people who are going to be like, absolutely not. That's not what we do. But there will be other people who are interested. And with those people, then you can create relationships and friendships and teach them some of these simple techniques, the precepts and the Joshin Kokyo breathing, 2 really simple things. I know in Western Reiki, a human Reiki group. You're not going to find an animal Reiki group very easily. And if you do, the animal Reiki group maybe have been taught the Western way. I think starting with the humans is easier, human Reiki, but don't try it out, see what will happen. I mean, I don't want to put my negative beliefs on there. I'm sharing my experience, but my experience is my experience, right? We all have to just kind of put yourself out there. And then is there someone here that does Bowen for animals? I don't know, Wilma, the best place, what I would do to find that out is just Google it. Google it and see, Bowen practitioners in your area, and then see what comes up. But so does anyone have any questions or comments or anything they want to share about how this practice has changed them, or how they can make this practice help to change them? And don't be shy. This is a really loving, safe community, and we're all here to support each other. So feel free to unmute and share. Nobody? Why is that? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Carolyn. Yeah, and then we'll get to you, MaryLynne.
Yeah, actually, I really just wanted to say hello to everybody, because this is the first time I turned my camera on, because I'm shy. But I've been seeing your faces, and I love Wednesdays. So yeah, just thank you for me to be part of this group.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. And I can't even, I've been bugging Carolyn. She must think I'm crazy. She's probably like rethinking her decision to do a level 1. And I'm just like, oh, it's nothing better. I know Kelly and Judy and Beth can all say the same thing, that when we get together in classes and we finally get to meet people in person, it's literally like meeting a sister or a brother. You're just like, oh my God, my long lost sister. Because again, in these groups, we're connecting on a really beautiful, energetic level that's deeper than just, hi, nice to meet you, Carolyn. Oh, what do you like? Oh, I like this too, right? There's something deeper. And that's what the animals experience with us too. When we go in there with joy in our heart and not anger or worry, we're humble, we're grateful, and we're compassionate. And Eddy turned on his camera. So Eddy, oh, you know what, MaryLynne, I'm going to get Eddy. Did you want to say something? Eddy never talks. So I'm going to let Eddy talk first, because I love to hear from Eddy here.
Yes. It's interesting. I'm not teaching anyone. I'm just saying it to me. The minute I started reciting the principles in the morning when I wake up, or before I go out, and at night before I go to bed, it had a tremendous effect on my behavior, on myself. Regardless of whether you are a Reiki practitioner or a master or an animal Reiki expert, it's a matter of how we grow as a human being.
Yes.
There are many, many versions of those 5 principles. I want to point out that it's very important when I say I do work hard. It's not only that I work hard from 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever. It's I work hard on my growth, on my development. And when I say I'm compassionate with everybody, we are compassionate with everybody and to ourselves.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm just telling it to myself. I don't take it as, arrogant or he wants to teach us something that we know. It's my experience. Okay. That's
yes, I love that. And we have to give Eddy props too, because that is huge growth. So everybody clap for Eddy. That's wonderful.
And
So much for-
I turned the video off just so I hear better because I'm
Oh
very
yeah,
far
no worries at all. That's
away. Okay.
not worries, but we always love to see it. Eddy's our token man. He comes and it's so funny. It's so sad that this practice attracts so many women, but not enough men. Because as Eddy, I mean, you've experienced, it's life-changing, right?
Yes. I started Reiki a couple years ago. I went all the way to Reiki Master Gendai Reiki. But I do have a need to help animals, especially around here where they have no one. No one.
Where
I've been
are you?
telling
Where are you, Eddy?
Venezuela.
Venezuela. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there are no animal protecting laws or anything like that. And there's a lot of help that I can do. I can give out. So yeah, that's it.
And Eddy, you can share and teach people, the precepts, the breath. You too can like help people, just like when they're feeling upset or something about an animal, you can say, you know what? We don't help an animal by being worried. We help an animal by being strong. And so teaching them that breath, teaching them the precepts.
I do. I don't tell them you're learning Reiki or you're learning patient or just, the people who take care of the at the shelters or people who take care of the parks. Many people go at the parks without any organization. They just learn how to breathe a little bit, learn any technique that will help them. It's going to help the animals. As long as your environment around you is peaceful, the animals know, and they'll feel it.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Eddy. And thank you for coming in from Venezuela. I love that.
Thank you all.
Thank you. And so I'm going to get to MaryLynne. And I don't know if I said hello to Virginia and Sue. I know Sue came on a little bit late. And so, yes, Eddy, Catherine's giving you clapping hands. Yay. So MaryLynne.
Yes. Okay. I'm trying quickly.
Yeah.
Nobody in my family, in my inner circle, had believed or were shocked. They were so shocked that 25, 30 years ago, I became unafraid of animals. And I grew up with no contact with animals, and I was afraid. And it was only through one cat at a Christmas party who gave me the courage and looking back, the love to begin my journey with overcoming fear of animals. And so that started the adoption of animals and getting involved with a shelter and then starting classes. And it's just I have felt so much love and fulfillment in my life because I don't have the fear. And all I want to do is be with animals.
And you're doing such an amazing job. And I know that you're a student of Kelly.
I was, yes. And yes, and I'm so appreciated at the shelter in Windsor. And I've been there 4 years.
Congratulations, MaryLynne. Thank you so much.
It's so nice. It's so nice. So
proud
but I do, Kelly, if I could I, if you have a minute after the session, could I ask you a question or two? Do you have? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, MaryLynne, want to just call me? You can just give me a call after.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
So we're going to go now. Thank you so much, everyone. I know we're at time, but so for those of you who have to leave, that's totally fine. For those of you who don't, we're going to do the Joshin Kokyoho meditation. So whenever we want to prepare ourselves for meditation, whether you're in the shelter anywhere, just going into Gasho, prayer pose, bringing our hands together is a really wonderful way to just calm your body and center yourself. And just taking a couple deep breaths here in this position. And you can close your eyes to close out all distraction. And now let's set our intent that we are open to receive whatever it is that we need most at this moment in time. And that we're open to holding space for all sentient beings. And whenever you're ready, you can put your hands face up or face down on your lap. And we're going to take some cleansing breaths, breathing in deeply through your nose, pulling your breath deep into your belly. Expand your belly as far as it can, and then slowly release your breath out your mouth. A couple more breaths like that. Breathing in very deeply and then releasing through your mouth. And with your breath, you are releasing stress, tension, any tightness in your body starts to soften as you prepare yourself for the meditation with your breath. Whenever you're ready, bring your breath back to a natural, soft in and out through your nose or your mouth, whichever is more comfortable. And I'd like you to envision that when you breathe in, your breath is being pulled down to your belly, and at your belly is a beautiful light. Your breath touches the light, and on your out breath expands the light. Breathing in, have your breath touch your inner light, and then feel that light expanding throughout your body on the out breath. Feel the light expanding down into your legs, up into your chest, into your shoulders and down your arms and into your hands. The light comes up in through your neck, into your head. With every breath in and out, the light within you brighter and brighter and brighter, until every cell of your body is illuminated in light. And now envision this light starting to seep out into the space around you. Breathing in and out, expanding the light outwards. This is a very natural, soft expansion, almost like a smoke. Feel the light filling the entire space around you. This beautiful light is your true self, your loving, compassionate, kind, joyful, happy, peaceful self. It is also the light of your strength. In this light, you are a beacon to others. And now I'd like you to bring to mind an animal you love deeply. This animal could be one that's with you now, or maybe one that's past. But visualize that animal and visualize them as a light. See their beautiful healing light. And invite them to join you. As they join you, feel your light expand even further as their light amplifies yours. And allow yourself to feel that deep love your animal feels for you. Feel your deep love for them. At your core, this is who you are, a beautiful, loving being. Your light is strong and powerful. It can go wherever you intend it to. this is who you truly are. Allow yourself to sit in this beautiful energy of joy and love, the energy of your light. And allow this space to heal you, to heal any wrongs that you're carrying, any doubts, any insecurities. Allow yourself to connect with this beautiful healing light and know that this is who you truly are. And let us bring our hands into Gasho, and we'll set our intent that we're ending this meditation. We also set our intent that we keep this beautiful, expansive love and light within ourselves today, into our night, into tomorrow, knowing we can always tap back into this space just by bringing our hands into Gasho and bringing ourselves back. And you can open your eyes, maybe rub your hands together, bring yourself back into the room. You know, and when I was doing this meditation, I couldn't help but think about community. And last night we were so honored to have Kelly talk to the Sarah member group about community and how when we connect our lights, like all of us here today, connected lights, we're still so much stronger and powerful. You're never alone. You have this beautiful community you can always tap into. We're always here for each other. So I think that there's just so much power in these Wednesday calls and in having a community. So thank you so much, Kelly, for last night and for reminding us all about that importance to turn to, whether it's these Wednesday calls or it's a group that you create. I know that you talked about how powerful it was for you to have your Vermont group. And, you know, we all can have those little mini tribes, but we also have these larger tribes. And then, of course, if you join Sarah as a community member, you're part of the Sarah community too. So thank you all so much. Yes, of course, Wilma, thank you for coming. And thank you, Virginia, for coming. Yes, and Monica, yes, thank you. I know, and so Monica's out in Croatia, but yet hopefully she doesn't feel alone because she has this group that she can tap into and learn from. And so, and same with Eddy. He's in Venezuela where they don't have a lot of protections, but he can come here and get strength and, you know, find ideas about how he can share this with his tribe in Venezuela. So you're welcome, Gwendolyn. Thank you so much for coming. So thank you everyone for coming and sharing this. And yes, of course, thank you, Anne and Claudia. If you could stay on, that would be great. So I'm going to end the recording right now.